All right, so I figure I better talk to you guys a little bit about doing your house estimates. Um, a lot of guys are talking about business and stuff, and I think that's probably one of the hardest things to figure is your business stuff, how to make money, and learning how to paint's one thing, and then learning how to make money at painting, that's another thing, and both things go hand in hand. So if you're, you know, to make money in painting, you got to be competitive. If you go, you can't be too high, you can't be too low, or you're not. You get too high, you're not going to work. You get too low, you're going to work all the time, and you're not going to make any money on your estimates, or you might lose money. That's the worst thing in the world is to pay $300 out of your pocket to paint somebody else's house. Why don't you just give them $300? And just tell them, hey, here's $300, and then you saved a week's worth of time. So I've seen guys do it many times. So it's unfortunate, and I've had this talk with them about estimates many times, and so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how some guys estimate houses, and how that when I'm doing an estimate, how that I look at it. There's two different ways. So I can't don't just walk up to a house and go, oh yeah, this house is about $2,000, or whatever. This house is about $3,000, and negotiate with the customer and figure out what they want to pay and try and get the job. Okay, first thing that I'm doing when I do an estimate is I'm interviewing them. They're not interviewing me. I already know how much money I can make, or how much, I know if I want to see what they're going to be like. If they're going to be assholes and they're going to make me redo everything 2-3 times, I'm going to probably turn the job down, first of all. But if I do take the job, or I'm taking a chance, or I feel like I'm taking a chance, I'm going to make sure that I make money. I'm going to charge enough money to cover that. So this is the key thing that you guys that are doing estimates and having problems doing estimates. Guys, I don't show my face on videos. I don't want to be famous. I just want to teach people what I know. So don't expect to see it. You might see it in a reflection sometime or another, and that's fine. But I don't want people walking down the street, hey, you're Mike the painter. So anyway, but let's say you go out and you're looking at a house. Okay, you're going to have two different types of people that are going to do an estimate on that house. And there's going to be one guy that's going to go in. You talk to the customer. You like the guy. He seems like the guy or the woman or whatever. You like the people. You think they're going to be fair people. You think by looking at the house that they're, that it's going to be a house you'll want to do, and you could make money doing it. Okay, so you've determined those things first. Okay, the second thing you determine on your estimate is to talk to things like this. Okay, you want to find out what color they want to paint it. A lot of times, if let's say you're doing outside, they say, oh yeah, well, it's going to take me 2 coats, 1 coat, blah blah blah. Why are you doing that? Because you're trying to figure out the man hours. Okay, if you do your estimates by man hours, you'll never be wrong. If you do estimates by square foot, which a lot of guys do, they go out, okay, this house is 2,200 square feet. I charge $1.05. I'm going to get it for 2,700 or whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I'm not saying that that's what they are. You probably know after a while what stuff's going for, and how you do that is by follow up. When you go out, do the estimate, you go out, give them a price, you call them back a week or a couple days later, and then say, hey, where am I at on it? And most of the time they'll tell you, well, you were a couple hundred higher than the other guy. Well, oh really? Does that mean you're going to negotiate and get your price down? You need to know if there was room in there to do it. Maybe you could, but I'm just saying that, you know, you need to know what your labor cost is, so that if you're going to do anything like that, and then sometimes you're just going to go, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Let them have it. And especially if they're going to lose money, that's really funny. You can drive by and see them losing money on that house. But usually what the case is, a lot of guys go out and they'll do an estimate. You know, some of these cheap guys, just so you know, a lot of these really cheap guys will go out and they'll give a cheap estimate, and then they'll try and get them on the extras. So what they'll do is go in there cheap, and and the guy goes, well, for the exterior of my house, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And then the guy goes, well, that didn't include the doors. It's like, oh, well, that's going to be another 200. Oh, so now he's right where you were at, right? So I'm just telling you, that's usually the case. And that's the kind of selling points you might want to use when you're talking to people, if you know your prices and you know things like that. But you need to look at the whole house. You know, like, let's say, for instance, you look at a little 1,200 square foot house, and one house across the street's got all brand new windows. So you know there's no wooden windows on that house. The house that you're looking at has got all wooden windows. And you're going to do that house for the same price as the one across the street? No. You're going to charge you figure out your man hours. How many days, how much money per day do you want to make? How much per day your labor cost is? How many man days you're going to have in that house, period. And then you figure out that by the price that you want to charge per man day, and then add your materials, and then come up with your price. Now, what I do is I'll take the man day hours, and I'll take the man day price, and then I'll take the square foot price that I think that it's going to go for per square foot. And then, so let's say sometimes I'll look at it and I go, hey, you know what? This house is really big, but it's really easy. Okay. And it's not going to take me but 3 days to do. You know, me and one guy are going to do this house in 3 days, no problem. But I think the square footage price is higher than that. So I'll look at it and I'll go, okay, so, you know, I can probably get an extra $200 on this job. So then you add your $200 in for profit, and you're still going to beat the other guy because he's going to go by square foot. So, because he doesn't know how to do an estimate. He doesn't know how to figure out the man days. He doesn't know how to figure out the hours. He doesn't know how to figure out how much the paint is. It's, you know, to figure out your paint, you should always walk the house, figure out your wall footage, and know, you know, based on around, say, this, let's say if it's a huge color change, you know, it's going to take more paint than it's going to take if you just go through and just paint it almost the same color. So you're going to say, well, okay, you know, I might only get, you know, 150 square feet per gallon on this house. Another house, you might say, well, I'll probably go 200. Another house, you go, hey, it's almost exactly the same color. I'm going to go 350 per square foot for paint. You know, whatever you figure out, you know, from experience how much that's going to cost you. You know, I love it when these guys go out. You know, a lot of these guys go out, and a lot of guys are going out doing this too. A lot of small contractors or unlicensed guys and stuff like that typically do this. They'll go out and go, well, you know, I'll charge you $1,300 for labor. Well, the guy goes, well, that sounds pretty cheap. And he says, what do you think paint's going to cost? Oh, about $300. You know damn well that paint's going to be $650 or $700 with today's prices. So he gets the job. Guess what? He gets the job. And then guess what he does? He goes, man, this house is soaking it up. So he goes out. Wow, this house is really, come on. House doesn't soak up paint. Okay. It's undervaluing the square footage of the wall. And he goes out and he gets the job, and then he bilks the customer for another few $100. And sometimes you're going to lose work to these guys. And it's just, you know, that's the frustrating part about doing houses all the time. So, you know, if that's what's happening, you know, figure out how to play the game a little bit. figure out how to talk to the customer and figure out how to get them to move. And sometimes when you're first starting out and you don't have that referral base, you're going to have to do one and not make much money on it because the other guys are jerks. And then hopefully when you get done, you talk to them and say, listen, I really didn't make much money on your house, but I wanted to be honorable to my price that I gave you. And, listen, I would really appreciate you ask them for referrals. Say, listen, I didn't make much on this, but there's no arguments here. I'm just looking for you to go ahead and, give me a couple referrals. Can you do that for me? Oh yeah, no, you did a great job, Mike. You did a fantastic job on my house. And, I would really appreciate it because, since I was honorable, I did my price. I didn't come in here. I didn't do like the other guys do. They go out and they'll charge you extra for the doors. They'll charge you extra for this. They'll charge you extra for, painting the mailbox, or they'll charge you extra for doing the roof flashings because you wanted them done and you didn't include it in the price or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying there's all kinds of things guys try to hit in there to get their money. Nobody works for free. Okay. So that sometimes is the way when you're first starting out, you can get your pricing right. And, the best thing I can say is I just don't do that stuff. If somebody says to me, oh, well, the guys, I'm going in there and, I do a cheap, I give them a cheap price and then I bilk it up on the extras. I just, nah, you go ahead, dude. You take that job, I just don't do that. And you know what? If I don't paint any houses, I don't care. I got a commercial work now, but a lot of that stuff's going on out there, guys. I'm just telling you, that's what's happening. If you're not getting the job and you're doing everything I'm telling you, then you need to reevaluate what's going on and figure out what the other guys are doing, and that's probably what's happening to you. So anyway, that's a little bit about housing estimates and how to figure that stuff out. And man, I got a lot of work to do here, clean it up. Man, this is just a mess. We've had night work and then day work, and then we go from painting, like house type paint to doing automotive type paint. And you unload the truck and then you reload the truck, and you do night work. You throw everything in the truck. You make sure you have every tool and then some, because if you're missing one thing at night, you are screwed. So, that's how it gets like this. This is a mess. And then I get it all cleaned up, and guess what happens? A storm comes again, and it's just like this again. It's just crazy. That's the type of work I do. But hey, I can't complain. If you guys knew how much my paycheck was, you would not be saying squat. Mikey ain't saying squat. Talk to you in the next video.